They say it's more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. But if that's the case, why isn't this Volvo more fun? If we were to break down the battle cry of those with no horsepower, it is fun to drive a slow car fast, it is not fun to drive a fast car slowly. What does this first part really mean though? The original concept of a slow car fast was probably something with 150 skinny tires, 250 in today's market. A car with a lower ceiling and grip that you could go out into a back road and actually enjoy, unlike a high-end sports car where that grip ceiling is way higher. In theory, the Volvo has the recipe to be that fun car driven fast. Front engine, rear wheel drive, fully independent suspension with 150 horsepower. To get this thing to move, you've really got to drive it. Something about the recipe is missing though. The engine doesn't really seem to care if it's at 2,000 RPM or 6,000 RPM. There's just no sense of urgency towards it. There's no sense of enjoyment. The feedback through the numb brake pedal and the numb steering just kind of make you question what's happening. The limiter grip comes when you can visually see the car's trajectory changing. Pushing the Volvo to its limits almost becomes a chore. As you get closer and closer, it pushes back. It's kind of like playing Risk with a Swede. Everything is up for grabs until you get close to Scandinavia. So long as it's not a luxury car. Fair enough. So if a slow car that's fun to drive fast is more than just low horsepower, maybe we need to look at another one that does fit the mantra better. I think that saying is set up for something much more like this. A 2001 Mazda Protégé MP3. It has 2 foot-pounds of torque. This thing makes nothing on the bottom end, so you have to rev at 4,000 or 5,000 RPM to get anything out of it. Ignore the rod knock, I've got a replacement engine. This is exactly what that saying is for. A slow car that's fun to drive fast, you have to work it to get anything out of it. There's no turbo to supplement torque low end. There's an engaging shifter. When you go into a corner and it starts to understeer, you can feel through the steering when it starts to shake that understeer scrub. It's an entertaining place to be. A 10,000 horsepower yacht is not nearly as nimble as a 100 horsepower jet ski. Weight has something to do with how a car feels nimble. With a boat, the interaction is the hull with the water and the weight on top of the hull. With a car, its only connection to the ground is the tires. It seems to be that the more important the unit of measurement is, the smaller unit we use to measure it. So a car's length is measured in feet, its weight is measured in pound, its cubic capacity is measured in liters or cubic inches, its tires are measured in millimeters. I mean, we have been convinced the Americans to use the metric system on anything except tires. The Volvo tips the scale at nearly 3,000 pounds, yet at each corner it's only got 185 millimeters of tire. You have 3.8 pounds of Volvo to turn for every millimeter of tire width. That's a massive amount of car for a very small amount of rubber. Something that is fun to drive offers you a controlled loss of control at the limit of its grip. This is different than sliding around parking lots and drifting. It's the information you get back from the controls that makes it entertaining to drive. A vehicle like this that's overweight, under-tired, and not communicative doesn't give you those properties. Putting a set of fatter tires underneath the Volvo was something they were never going to do from factory because the owners weren't buying a car that needed to handle at the limit of grip. You're still going to have the numb controls, but some cars can be helped by a sense of security when driving something with more grip. Or is a luxury car with aftermarket tires? Probably. If skinny tires, high curb weight, and soft suspension are going to be a recipe for a car not to be fun, why do I own this? This is my 1981 Peugeot 505. It has softer suspension than the Volvo, half of the horsepower in the Volvo. It has a pounds per millimeter rating of 4.1 per millimeter, and I use it for racing. Why does that make any sense? If it's got less of everything that I just said was bad on the Volvo, what's its purpose? The Peugeot offers all of the characteristics of the Volvo with little to no upsides on top of it. But it's used in a controlled environment wearing safety gear with people around you ready to help. Going off at 40 kilometers an hour on dirt or snow, as I have done many times before, seems much more enticing for me to try new things in a car that maybe doesn't tell me very much than it does here at 100. Short lifespan driving like that works on a car like the Peugeot. This 132,000 kilometer survivor car was bought to drive. It's never going to be a field racer. Okay, that seems clear enough. It's fun to drive a slow car fast, so long as the slow car is not a luxury car, or is a luxury car on aftermarket tires, or is a luxury car or normal car used in a risk-free racing environment than it is to drive a fast car slowly. I'm thinking for research purposes, I should probably drive a fast car, just to be certain. This is my friend's Golf GTI. It makes about 300 wheel horsepower, which makes it very much faster than the regular traffic, and it's a fast car I want to drive. At what speed? This car fits the bill of a fast car perfectly though. It can get me in trouble so easily. Constantly this car is fighting for grip because it doesn't weigh very much and it puts down a decent number to the wheels. It isn't a Lamborghini, but it is a fast car. Definitely faster than your regular traffic. But it does have that problem the internet was saying I was going to run into. Pull it in first and second and I broke in every single speed limit my town has to offer. Third, fourth, and I broke in every single speed limit on a Canadian highway. I could have the car impounded on the spot. In theory, I can never drive this car at its limit because it's too fast for the streets.
Diplomatic community.
Bullshit.
The closest I've ever come on my channel of saying this is a slow car that's fun to drive fast was my 91 Volkswagen Cabriolet. And I showed in that video of me hanging one wheel in the air as I went around corners, and that's genuinely how I drove it. Which might mean that I proved my point, it's fun to drive fast, and it was. But it doesn't mean it was legal. It doesn't mean I could do it all the time. If I was ever going around a roundabout with one wheel in the air and my front tire screaming, "Kill me now," I would have gotten a massive ticket.
But just like the convertible I was reviewing before, I mentioned that it has a second purpose when you take its top off and it turns into a fun cruiser.
When you are driving this car like a lunatic, it doesn't stop becoming fun. You can hit the mid-RPM torque, and every time you hit an on-ramp onto the highway, you can put your foot fully to the floor. You can play with the manual mode and flip it so you can hear all the DSG and the pop noises. It's still fun, even if you're going at a regular speed, and thus I don't find this car boring to drive slowly.
Alrighty, okie dokie, let's do this one time real quick. It is fun to drive a slow car fast, so long as the slow car is not a luxury car, or is a luxury car with aftermarket tires probably, or is a luxury car / normal car used in a risk-free racing environment. It is not fun to drive a fast car slow, so long as the fast car has zero semblance of personality whatsoever, or you drive in such heavy traffic that you never get to get on it at any point in time at all. And no cars are fun to drive slowly, right?
Every Volvo is designed to fold and wrinkle in a totally predictable fashion to absorb the immense power of a crash, to keep the passengers safe and sound inside. We've shown the world how safe a car can be. Deep down, we knew that sooner or later people would demand safer cars.
Cars are driven by people. The guiding principle of everything we make here at Volvo, therefore, is and must remain safety. The 760 is a product of a company that prioritizes safety over speed every time. That doesn't mean Volvo set out to make a bad car. So Volvo, knowing they had to build a safe car, but therefore heavy, and an efficient car, therefore underpowered, set their sights on trying to build a Mercedes-like level of quality at a fraction of the cost. Well, that independent rear suspension doesn't keep you at the limit of grip right there the whole time. It holds you at a steady pace with control. You can hit bumps, you can hit undulations through a corner, and the car, while it moves more than a modern driver would expect, is still stable. And it's not like being an older car, it's light on features. It's got power door locks, power windows, power mirrors, cruise control, sunroof, heated leather seats, it's got air conditioning, it's got automatic climate control, and if you buy it a Bluetooth dongle, it'll hook up to your phone and you'll just drive it like a modern vehicle. It's comfortable, it's spacious. I could drive across the country tomorrow, these seats are so sumptuous. I said that the engine is the same at 2,000 RPM as it is at 6,000 RPM, so why not drive it at 2? You need never think about trying to pass people in traffic because you're slower than all of them anyways. Couple that with the fact that it's a classic Volvo, so it's got the reliability that they're known for, it's kind of risk-free classic car driving. I drive slow cars that are fun to drive fast, and I drive fast cars that are fun to drive slowly. But I drive a Volvo because it's a slow car that's fun to drive slowly. I can simplify this.